What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy Kevin to on YouTube shit. Hey man, say man, we are lit, eh? Leave that team, man. Turn to motherfucking day. Chilling outside, big crip in the game, chilling outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia, do your thing, and Texas, stand the fuck up. Each day is new day to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down, always fight back. Never let somebody tell you who you are, but also never put yourself in a position you don't belong. Let's stay humble, let's get a revolution on this moment. Keep Yahweh first. Coming to the Black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. We out here. Alright. Boom. Today, to motherfucking day. Chilling outside, big crip in the game, chilling outside shit, man. Gang, go. Turn up. Hey, man, say, man, this is a real tragedy, man. I don't know what it is, man, with these professional players and police officers. I don't know what's been going on, but for some reason, man, it's always something happening to these professional players, and they end up dying out of the police know about it, or they in police custody. And it's getting wild and weird, bro, because, like, bro, this shit can't just be by accident or CTE, but we never know because we wasn't sure. You know what I'm saying? So we only can make our thoughts about it. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, man. Like, it's sad, though, you know, because we got Marshawn Kneeland. He was a Cowboys player, man. Unfortunately, he passed away, man. And if y'all hear the story, what happened is weird in a bit, because the police, they said they seen a nigga and they chased him and he crashed out. And I'm thinking because something was wrong with his car and he couldn't stop. And I guess everything was good with him. And then they said he went to a potty and then he took it, like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, clock, KO himself. But I don't know. Police will say anything, you dig what I'm saying? But the girlfriend did call 12 when it happened, so I don't fucking know, man. This shit getting weird in the bitch. But we all know what happened to Cam Too Funny. That nigga ran, and they beat his ass. So who knows, bruh? We finna talk about it. Let's get into it, man. Shout out to Hollywood 1970. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Hollywood 1970, man. Crazy last moments of Marshawn Kneeland, man. It's getting crazy out here, man.
O'Donnell has it blocked into the end zone.
It began with a single message. Late on the night of November 5th, 2025, several people close to Dallas Cowboys defensive in Marshawn Kneeland received a group text.
The
words were brief, almost simple, a quiet goodbye, everyone. At first, some thought it was a joke, maybe just a tired player venting after another long practice week. But within minutes, those who knew him best felt something was wrong. His girlfriend tried to call. He didn't answer. She called again and again. When she couldn't reach him, she dialed the police. According to the Frisco Police Department report later obtained by multiple outlets, officers from the Texas Department of Public Safety had already been attempting to stop Kneeland's black SUV for a traffic violation around 11:40 p.m. that night. Instead of pulling over, the vehicle kept going, moving through the quiet streets of suburban Texas until it veered off near Dallas Parkway and Warren Parkway. Moments later,
y'all think
he
had a faulty car?
When officers reached the car, Marshawn wasn't there.
Could they try to say the police had something to do with it, man?
The airbag had deployed. His phone and keys were gone. Dispatch recordings later, released by authorities, revealed the tension of that night. A dispatcher's voice said, "Friends say he sent a group text saying goodbye. They're concerned for his safety." Another voice followed. "Girlfriend says he might be in distress. She's trying to call him now." From that moment, the search became a rescue. Police units spread across Frisco, a drone equipped with infrared cameras. Team security and coaches were quietly informed that one of their players was missing. No public statements were made yet, only quiet prayers. Teammates who lived nearby started driving through the area looking for him. 3 hours later, at 1:31 a.m. on November 6th, police confirmed what everyone feared. Marshawn Kneeland had been found in a nearby location. No foul play was suspected. By sunrise, headlines began to appear. Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland dies at 24. It was impossible to process. Just days earlier, he had scored his first NFL touchdown, grinning as he pointed to the sky. A moment of triumph that now felt like a farewell. In a league built on strength and endurance, the quiet passing of a young player sent shockwaves. Through every locker room, coaches, teammates, and fans across the nation were left asking the same question. How could someone who seemed so full of life be gone overnight?
Like a grown
For the Dallas Cowboys, it wasn't just another off-season tragedy. It was a night that stopped the game and reminded the world that even its strongest heroes carry battles
I'm not
no
trying to
one
be
can
funny or
see.
nothing. Since he
Long
gone,
before the NFL lights ever found him,
the money
Marshawn
impact on the
Kneeland
team,
grew up under the gray
the
skies of
salary
Grand
cap, is that
Rapids,
decreased?
Michigan,
Or what happens?
a
Do they
place where
transfer
hard
to the
work
family
wasn't an
or
option. It was survival. He was raised by his
something?
mother, Wendy Kneeland, a woman remembered by neighbors as strong, patient,
Do they
and
pay the rest of
endlessly
his contract to
devoted.
his family?
She
Or that
worked
shit is
multiple
open?
jobs to make ends meet. When Marshawn was a boy, she often returned home, exhausted but still managed to sit with him, helping with homework or folding his practice uniform for the next day's game. Friends said she was his entire world, the only audience he ever needed. At Godwin Heights High School, Marshawn was already showing the traits that would define him: quiet leadership, humility, and a relentless will to improve. He played both linebacker and tight end, leading his team
linebacker
to
and
winning
tight end?
seasons. Coaches said he was the first to arrive, the last to leave, and never complained about drills,
that coach
weather,
spirit.
or pain. He didn't speak loudly, but when he did, people listened. One of his teachers later told the Detroit Free Press, he didn't talk about the NFL. He talked about wanting to make his mom proud. That was his dream. When college scouts began to notice his potential, Marshawn didn't chase fame
24
or
years
bigger
old,
programs.
nigga. That's sad.
He chose to stay close to home, committing to Western Michigan University, less than 2 hours from where he grew up. He wanted his mother to be able to drive to every game, and she did, rain or snow, when he was always there, sitting in the stands wrapped in team colors. At Western Michigan, his transformation was
Maybe I need to put
remarkable.
beard oil or
He
some shit.
redshirted his
Because I
freshman
shave my
year,
shit, you know what I'm
added
saying? Like,
muscle, studied
shave my
film
shit.
obsessively,
that nigga
and
24,
became
that
one of
nigga
the
must
most
put beard
respected
oil on his
players in the
shit.
locker room. By the 2023 season, Kneeland had recorded 57 tackles
Damn.
and 4.5 sacks, earning recognition across the Mid-American Conference and establishing himself
You never
as
know
one of
what
the
the players
best
are going
defensive
through, man.
prospects in his
True.
class. But beyond the numbers, what stood out was his character. Teammates called him the quiet giant. He encouraged rookies, carried the team's equipment without being asked, and stayed late
a
after
team
practice
player.
just to help others with drills. In interviews, his answers were short but sincere. Asked once what motivated him, he simply said, "I owe everything to my mom. She gave up everything for me." That kind of humility, rare in modern sports, made Marshawn Kneeland not just a hometown athlete, but a hometown hero. And when NFL scouts came calling,
He came from that
they
M.
didn't just see a strong defender. They saw a man built by love, loss, and quiet determination. The kind of story the league loves to celebrate, yet one that few truly understood. When the Dallas Cowboys called his name in the second round of the 2024 NFL Draft, Marshawn Kneeland didn't raise his arms or scream into the camera like most young prospects. He lowered his head, wiped his eyes, and whispered something only he could hear. That was because just weeks before that moment, his mother, Wendy Kneeland, had passed away unexpectedly. It was the kind of loss that changes everything. For
Losing your
years,
mom can be
she
tough,
had been
man.
his foundation,
Anybody in your family,
his
really.
voice on the phone after
That shit can
every
be tough.
game, the woman who drove through Michigan snowstorms just to watch him play.
Boy, them
When she was
Michigan
gone,
snowstorms ain't
the
no
silence
joke,
left
nigga.
behind was unbearable. Friends said he rarely spoke about it, but he carried her everywhere he went. Literally. Around his neck, under his jersey, was a small silver chain containing his mother's ashes.
That's kinda crazy.
He wore it to practice, to team meetings, even to photo
I don't know
sessions.
if I want my
When
if I
asked
have
once
somebody
about
die,
it during
if I want
rookie
their ashes
minicamp,
around me,
he
I'm just being
smiled
honest.
gently and said,
You know what I'm saying?
"She's
'Cause
still
that's
with
kind of
me."
weird.
Those
to
who
me.
knew him said that single
I lost
sentence
people, but I want their
explained
ashes with me.
everything about Marshawn. Every tackle,
You know
every
what I'm saying?
sprint,
Just being honest.
every drop of sweat was for her. His college coach,
But
Lance
it's
Taylor,
weird.
said in a tribute, "He played with a
When
purpose
he
you could
gets
feel.
drafted,
Every rep was for
the
his
mom
mom."
dies.
In Dallas, that
You
devotion
gotta think
became a
about
quiet
it.
legend
Secret
among
organization.
teammates.
And then
He
he
didn't go
done
out
next.
much, didn't talk about nightlife or
Come on, man.
endorsements.
Wake
His
up,
focus
stay
was
woke, nigga.
football
Don't let this shit
and keeping a
fool your
promise
ass,
he'd
nigga.
made to his
Police
mother
might have
before she
something to do with
died,
it.
to live with integrity,
They woke.
no matter how bright the spotlight became. But grief has a way
They
of
fucking woke.
reshaping
Trip.
even the strongest hearts. Behind the laughter in the locker room and the wide
You never know
smile
what's going on
fans saw on
behind these
camera,
niggas, man.
those close to him noticed a shift. A quieter tone, longer silences, a faraway look whenever someone mentioned family. Dak Prescott later said in an interview, he carried his mom's memory everywhere. I think sometimes the weight of that love was heavy. Still, watching, he kept his tribute simple. After every big play, he would touch the chain around his neck, look up to the sky, and whisper, "That's for you, Mom." It wasn't for the cameras. It was for Wendy. The reason he started, the reason he kept going, and in many ways, the
People
reason
tryna
he
say
never stopped
CTE, you
fighting,
never know,
even
bro.
when the world thought he
Trip.
was fine. When Marshawn Kneeland walked into the Dallas Cowboys facility for the first time in the summer of 2024, he didn't look like a rookie chasing fame. He looked like a man who'd come to work. No entourage, no flashy clutches, no noisy. Just a calm presence, quiet but commanding. Coaches noticed it immediately. Defensive coordinator then Quinn Latter Richalet. He didn't talk about goals or stats. He talked about getting better every day. That's all he said. The Cowboys had drafted him for his power and discipline, but what they got was something rarer, a player who played every. But Marshawn
He
refused
was
to
a
sulk.
good player. Like,
Every
the
day
only
he
time I
showed
really
up
know
in the gym
about him is
early,
that
pushing through rehab,
pat down
quietly
tackle.
rehanging
The
motivational
touchdown.
notes from his mom in his locker.
So we picking
Quietly rehanging motivational notes from his mom in his locker. By the time 2025 rolled around, he was healthy and hungry. He'd gained strength, refined his technique, and earned the respect of veterans who saw in him the same relentless spirit that had carried him from Grand Rapids to Texas. Williams blocked a punt near the end zone.
Yeah.
The ball bounced once, twice, and Marshawn Kneeland dove, recovering it for his first career touchdown. He didn't
That was
dance.
lit. I
He
remember
didn't
that.
flex.
It just happened.
It was validation. Proof
Nigga.
that his journey, his
Keep
loss,
God first,
and his
man.
pain had all
Pray to
led
Yahweh,
to something
man.
beautiful.
God gonna wake you up,
Reporters
man.
described his
We don't
post-game
know if he had a
smile
faulty
as
car,
radiant, but those
and the
closest
police
to
could
him
have took
said it
him
was
out,
the
or
happiest
it's some
they'd
weird
seen
shit
him in
behind
months.
it. You never
No
know.
one could have imagined it would also be the last time he smiled on
But
the
if it
field.
was because he
Just a
KO'd
few days
himself, we
later,
don't know.
the same player who had
It's
pointed
just
to the
weird,
heavens
though.
end, triumph would vanish into a Texas night, leaving
He only
behind a
24.
team, a family, and a league struggling to understand why. But for Marshawn Kneeland, something was different. Around 11:40 p.m., troopers from the Texas Department of Public Safety attempted to stop a dark SUV after a minor traffic
Yeah,
violation.
that's
The driver
that's
didn't
what
pull
people
over.
been hearing.
The chase that followed was
And
short,
then he just magically
just a
end
few
up in a
minutes
porta
through
potty
quiet
dead.
suburban
Come
roads
on, man.
before the vehicle
That's
veered off
weird.
near Dallas Parkway
He
and
might have had a
Parkway,
faulty car.
crashing into a
Look what happened
barrier.
to Cam Too
When
Funny.
officers reached the scene, the car was
He
empty.
ran and they beat
The
him up.
airbag had deployed.
He
The
could have had a
driver's
faulty
door was
car.
open. Inside were
He
his
ran
wallet,
because
his
he didn't know what was
keys,
going to happen.
and his phone. The name on
Who
the
knows?
registration, Marshawn Kneeland. At almost the same moment, people close to him began receiving a group text message. Those words sent a wave of panic. Through his circle, his girlfriend, Catalina, immediately called police, telling dispatchers she feared he was in distress.
Yeah.
One officer's voice was later heard on the recorded radio feed saying, "Friends say he sent a goodbye message. We're trying to reach him now." The search quickly expanded. Multiple patrol cars and K. 9 units swept the area. A drone equipped with thermal cameras scanned nearby lots and wooded spaces. Officers called and texted his number repeatedly, hoping he would answer. He never did. Inside the Cowboys headquarters, word spread quietly among security and coaching staff that one of their players was missing. No public announcement was made. Teammates were told to stay home and wait for updates.
That shit is
By
wild,
1:31
man.
a.m., the search ended. Authorities confirmed they had found Marshawn Kneeland in a nearby location. They emphasized that no foul play was suspected. When the
Yeah,
news
that's
reached
kind
the
of funny,
team,
right?
silence filled the hallways. One staff member said, later, it didn't feel real. He had just scored a touchdown days ago. We thought he was finally at peace. As dawn broke, major outlets began publishing the story. Dallas
because he,
Cowboys defensive end. Their screens,
just because,
rereading
you
the
know what I'm
headlines.
saying?
No one could understand
He
how a
scored a
man who
touchdown,
seemed
he
to
happy.
have everything, talent, respect, and a future, could be gone overnight. It was a night that would stay, etched in the memory of every Cowboys fan, every teammate, every family who watched the game and realized that sometimes even the brightest lights burn out in silence. By sunrise, the news had spread across the nation. Marshawn Kneeland, number 99 of the
RIP, man.
Dallas
Rest in power,
Cowboys,
man.
was gone at just 24. At the team's headquarters in Frisco, players arrived in. Silence. No one spoke. No one trained. Helmets stayed on the floor. Dak Prescott, holding back tears, told reporters later that day, "It's one of the hardest mornings of my career. We lost more than a teammate. We lost family." Defensive lineman Solomon Thomas, whose sister died years earlier, wrote online, "Heart breaks for you, brother. Your smile, your energy will carry it forever." That night, during Thursday Night Football, the stadium lights dimmed before kickoff. On the giant screen, Marshawn's image appeared, helmet off, smiling, while fans and players stood in complete silence. Even rival teams paused their practice sessions to hold a moment of respect. Outside the Cowboys facility, hundreds of fans gathered, leaving flowers, candles, condolences to his family, his teammates, and all who knew him. His family later spoke through People magazine. "We're heartbroken, but grateful for the love shown around the world. Uniform is a human being, fragile, real, and loved." Grief turned into reflection. Players who once spoke only about game plans began talking about mental health. Dak Prescott said quietly in one interview, "We have to start checking on each other." Something rarely seen in a sport built on toughness and silence. On NBCFW and CBS, analysts called Marshawn's story a painful but powerful wake-up call. Experts spoke about the hidden pressure of living under constant scrutiny, the expectation to perform, to stay perfect, to smile even when life falls apart. Solomon Thomas, who runs a foundation for suicide prevention in memory of his, understood the deeper truth. He had been fighting a battle no one could see. The message he left behind wasn't in his final text, but in his life. That strength isn't measured in tackles or yards, but in honesty, compassion, and the courage to speak up before it's too late. Onto the field. Western Michigan University announced they would retire his number 99 for the season. Fans back home painted murals with the words "Still with us." The league honored him quietly, but powerfully. His story sparked real conversations about caring for players as people, not just athletes. Coaches began adding mental check-ins to weekly routines. It was a small change, but one. Player, he was a light. And even after the stadium lights went dark, that light keeps shining for everyone who ever needed hope. Gone, but iconic, because some stories deserve to be remembered forever.
NFL player found dead in a porta potty. Damn, he was found dead in a porta potty? See, something not adding up, bro.
Lieutenant calling in from Plano advising that the NFL is calling Plano PD and the subject is texting his family goodbye.
EPS 111, there is a porta potty on the south side of that building. 40, we got eyes on it. That's pretty much right exactly where 118 drew the circle. Y'all see a heat from that?
So he crashed his car.
We got good eyes on
everything was good. Open, and then he ran to a porta potty. Nah, bro. Something not adding up.
Anytime. I'll start with my first question. How old were you when you started playing football?
I started playing football, I had to have been around the age of like 7 or 8. I know I always wanted to start when I was like real young, but where I was from, I was grew up with a single mom, and there wasn't really too many opportunities for me to play at a very young age.
A crazy feeling, man. It's like, obviously, like I said, I was heavily under-recruited coming out of high school. So for these guys to reach out to me and give me the opportunity to showcase my talents and come here and them take me in and develop me, and now I'm finna go to the NFL and have my jersey hanging up in one of these showcases. It's like, man, it doesn't get better than that.
Fam, in life, you never really know what somebody going through. You never know how they coping with a sudden loss. Sometimes we work so hard chasing dreams, chasing success, only to realize when we finally get there, it don't hit the same without the people we did it for. In the last 24 hours, reports started circulating that a young breakout star, a second-year player for what many call the American team, the Dallas Cowboys, has tragically lost his life. From the outside looking in, you think he had it all. A kid who was once overlooked coming out of high school made his way to Western Michigan, still got drafted on day 2 of the NFL draft. But what most people didn't realize, just 2 months before the draft, he went through the kind of pain that no man ever fully recovers from, losing his mother, the same woman who was with him through it all. Now, what makes you reflect on this story is just last week this young man did something special, something he never done before in his career, something most never do as a defensive player in their career. Score a touchdown. You can see the joy, the emotion, the weight behind that celebration. But who would have known that same moment might have triggered everything he was holding inside? They say he broke down, missing his mom, missing a voice that was always there.
O'Donnell has it blocked. Into the end zone in a race. And a touchdown. Sam Williams blocked it. Kneeland, the touchdown.
Who would have known the following week he would lose his life? And we want to thread lightly with this story because we're not here to speculate. We're here to spread awareness, the truth. None of us can predict how losing a mother affect us. Today we're going to pay our respects and tell his story. From the rise to the draft, to the proudest moment on the field, and the tragic discovery that has left his fans and family heartbroken. A 24-year-old life gone too soon, found inside a porta potty. We'll go over the dispatch audio, hear what he said at his mom's funeral, look back at his journey, and remember the man behind the jersey. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I won't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. A young kid growing up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, born July 8, 2001, Marshawn Kneeland. He went to Godwin Heights High School in Wyoming, Michigan, where he excelled as a two-way player and became a 2-star recruit. As far as college, he didn't have many options, but he did have D1 offers. He stayed home and went to Western Michigan University. During his time at college, he quickly shined. He earned second-team all-conference honors in 2023 and was named a winner of the Ted Hendricks Award for Best Defensive End in the nation. And in 2024, he decided to enter the draft. But during that journey, he would lose his mom to an undisclosed illness. Her name was Wendy Kneeland. She was a single mom, and on February 18, 2024, while Marshawn was preparing for the 2024 NFL Scouting Combine, he would get a call that suddenly after a fight, his mom would lose her life. Now at that moment, it was tough for Marshawn. He was telling people that his mom shared the same goal as him, making it to the pros one day. And that dream was becoming a reality. A week later, they had the funeral. This is what Marshawn had to say.
Honor Wendy's life from speaking from the heart from her son, Marshawn, at this time.
Man. Y'all can hear me? For sure. It's crazy. Because, growing up, she was always there for me, always going to all my games, some cold nights, like just always there for me. Damn. It's definitely tough. You just never expect something like this. I know she was always helping me out with everything, anything I needed with school, anything I needed with just life in general. I knew I could always call her, text her, and everything. She was basically there for me for... Fuck, man. Basically there for me for everything. And
Catalina, she also got me a bear with a voice message that my mom sent me. And the voice message definitely hold dear to me just because it was Christmas last year. Basically just her telling me that she loved me, and just letting me know that she was gonna be there for me, like regardless what happened, everything. And it was really just stand out because, you know, I listened to that because for this situation,
you lost him and his
kind of
mom.
resonates as if she's still here, as if she's still on the other side of the phone talking to me. There's a lot of crazy things that's been going on recently. Just with me getting invited to the combine and this and that, and Senior Bowl. We were supposed to get her to come out to the Senior Bowl, and a lot of things happened where she couldn't do that, and we were supposed to be like, okay, we finna, you know, go to the draft day party. And the thing that, you know, helped me go on was just like, okay, we got time. And obviously this was unexpected and nobody knew that this was gonna happen, but man, I wish if I can go back in time, I would have definitely found a way for me to go see her come see me. And it tore me apart. But one thing that, like, you know, helped me get through it is that I could still feel her just training and this and that. I would ask for her to be there with me, and it's like I can feel her presence there with me, and I still do. And, you know, like, she was just always that loving person, so I know that she's still, like, watching over me. And it's definitely tough going through it, but, you know, I try to be strong as much as I can. And yeah, so I'm just thankful. And yeah, that was my mom's. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Yamaya and Marshawn. Let's just honor them for being able to come up here during a difficult time and continue to show love for their wonderful mother, Wendy.
Yet still, Marshawn was determined to make him and his mom's dreams come true. They cremated his mom, and he wore her ashes every day in a necklace and made him feel like she was still with him every step of the way. Fast forward to April of 2024, Marshawn was selected in the second round by the Dallas Cowboys, making his dreams and his mom's come true. He became a starter as a rookie. Cowboys official compared Kneeland to Lawrence due to his length and ability to rush the passer and potential to become a stronger run defender. He also reminds some in the organization of Greg Ellis, now a Cowboys assistant defensive line coach. He signed his 4-year rookie deal and things was looking up. The Cowboys was excited about his sophomore year. But then fast forward May of 2025, he shared throwback photos with him and his mother and sister as part of an Instagram collage. Caption, "One Love." That would be his last post on the gram. But fast forward to September 14, 2025, in Arlington, Texas, AT&T Field, Marshawn Kneeland, number 94, with the Dallas Cowboys, rushes the passer during an NFL football game against the New York Giants. And that was the clip you saw at the very beginning of this video, as he picks up the fumble and scores his first touchdown in the NFL, mind you, as a defensive player. Then just 3 weeks later, November 7, 2025, at around 1:31 a.m., Frisco police got a call from Marshawn's girl, saying Marshawn sent her, family, and teammates a concerning message. They were scared for him and wanted police to quickly find him and get help. They went to his house. He wasn't there. Then they spotted his car, quickly gave him a chase, but then stopped. Marshawn quickly parked his car and went inside a near porta potty, leaving local authorities to discover him. Inside, slumped over. May he rest in peace. Love and condolences to his family.
She's trying to call his... We're talking to the girlfriend. She's trying to call his agent, but we're trying to get him to call him first. But she's saying he is armed and has a history of mental illness, and her quote was, "He will end it all."
Damn.
Good copy. You probably ran back to the car to get the gun. 10-4. If she calls him, we'll let you know. Good copy. Alright, y'all do me a favor. Everybody stay with the buddy.
CTE ain't no damn joke, nigga.
This guy is
Damn.
armed.
President, they just received a
Nigga,
text
all these
from
damn
Leon
football
Hubbard
players and
saying
athletes are dying.
saying goodbye. They're concerned for his welfare. They do not have a key to the apartment.
David 7, I copy. I can advise on this call. We were just out there. There's nobody at the apartment. I'll contact him by phone.
We have a lieutenant calling in from Plano advising that the NFL is calling Plano PD, and the subject is texting his family goodbye.
UPS 111, there is a porta potty on the south side of that building.
40, we got eyes on it. That's pretty much right exactly where 118 drew the circle. Y'all see a heat from that?
Yeah, 111, we got good eyes on. Looks like the door's open. Red liquid coming out from it. We just want to go ahead and work this safely before we have any officers approach. So let's just let's get an arrest team and kind of go through this safely and tactically. I believe we got eyes on a drone right there. Still got eyes on the target inside that porta potty.
We're pushing the drone there now.
Good copy. Just on our last orbit, we didn't see any movement. Still got that heat signature. Looks like it's curled up at the bottom of that porta potty. With the stream of blood coming from the porta potty.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a 10-4. He's going to be laying on his side, facing inward, and quite a bit of blood coming out. Possible signal 27.
Now, hearing that, you know a little more detail to know his girlfriend, Kayla. She tried to get him help, but now it's to the point where, according to her family, she's yet to be contacted. She went into a shell, and apparently this eating her alive. So we sending prayers to her way as well. Since this news, the Dallas Cowboys said in a statement, it is with extreme sadness that the Dallas Cowboys shared that Marshawn Kneeland tragically passed away this morning. Marshawn was a beloved teammate and a member of our organization. Our thoughts and prayers regarding Marshawn are with his girlfriend, Caitlin, and his family. You know, fam, we talk about mental health, grief, and loss. And sometimes it don't matter how strong you are, how rich you get, or what jersey you wear. The pain don't disappear. It just hides until it can't hide no more. Marshawn Kneeland fought through everything life threw at him. Being overlooked, proving doubters wrong, losing his mother, and still making it to the biggest stage in football. At just 24 years old, this was a young man still finding peace within success. And if anything, this should remind us all, check on your people. Don't just ask if they're good. Make sure they really are. We sending prayers to his family, his teammates, and everyone affected by the story we just talked about. Rest in peace, Marshawn Kneeland, a son, a teammate, a fighter who gave everything he had on and off the field. Sad to say, fam, this was the story of a young man who lost his life after trying to grieve with losing his mom. Let me know how you guys feel about this one in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then.
Shout out to Deadly Affairs, man. They told him hug your mom. So we're going to get halfway in it because we kind of know what happened. But
immediately. They couldn't grieve as a unit. They were all apart, processing this tragedy separately. Wednesday night, November 5th, 2025, around 10:33 p.m., Texas Department of Public Safety troopers attempted to stop a vehicle for a traffic violation near Frisco, Texas. The driver didn't stop. A pursuit began. Frisco Police Department was called to assist. Now, we need to be very careful here with the details because this is where things get sensitive and we need to respect what happened. What we know is this: authorities lost sight of the vehicle during the pursuit. Minutes later, they found the vehicle crashed on Dallas Parkway near Warren Parkway. The driver had left the scene on foot. Police established a perimeter. They began searching the area with K9 units and drones. And while this search was happening, they were getting information that made this a crisis situation.
We're talking to the girlfriend. She's trying to call his agent, but we're trying to get him to call her to call him first. But she's saying he is armed and has a history of mental illness, and her quote was, "He will end it all."
Good copy. You probably ran back to the car to get the gun.
If she calls him, we'll let you know.
Good copy.
115 to 40. Just wanted to give you a heads up.
Man, this shit not making sense, man.
The widest on that stormwater drain is 21 inches, and then it drops down to 6 inches and 8.
Perfect. Yeah, we're looking at about a 2-foot wide hole right now.
Got an open door at 600 Apogee. Them anymore?
10-4. They stated that their vehicle is no longer following them. However, they're still driving. We're trying to get them to stop at Branch Grocery, but they're refusing to stop. They're stating that they're on 982. They're going to be put through 130.
Or can you switch me back to my stop so I can finish that up, please?
Of course, sir.
Oh, no. Excuse me.
Think about what was happening in those moments. His girlfriend, Catalina, is on the phone with police. She's terrified. She's telling them he has a history of struggling with his mental health. She's saying he's going to end it all. She's trying to reach his agent, trying to get anybody who might be able to talk to him, to reach him, to help. His family is getting text messages, a group text, saying goodbye. The NFL is calling the police department. This is an active crisis involving one of their players. And somewhere out there in Frisco, Texas, Marshawn Kneeland is alone, in pain, overwhelmed, feeling like there's no other way out. Plano police had also responded to a welfare check at his residence at 11:40 p.m., but he wasn't there. Authorities searched for hours, using every resource they had, trying to find him, trying to help him. And then around 1:30 a.m. on Thursday morning, November 6, 2025, Marshawn Kneeland was found. He had passed away. He was 24 years old.
Please stand now and join us in a moment of silence as we remember his life. If you or someone you know is struggling and needs emotional support, please call or text 988. The Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available 24/7 to help.
The Collin County Medical Examiner's Office would later confirm the cause of death, but what matters most is this. A young man who had his whole life ahead of him, who had worked so hard to achieve his dreams, who was loved by so many people, felt like he couldn't hold on anymore. Thursday morning, the Dallas Cowboys released a statement. It is with extreme sadness that the Dallas Cowboys share that Marshawn Kneeland tragically passed away this morning. Marshawn was a beloved teammate and member of our organization. Our thoughts and prayers regarding Marshawn are with his girlfriend Catalina and his family. The NFL released their own statement saying they were deeply saddened and had offered support and counseling resources to the Cowboys organization. I want us to focus on 3 groups of people who are living with this tragedy in ways most of us can't fully understand. First, his girlfriend, Catalina. According to reports, she's pregnant with Marshawn's child. She tried to get him help that night. She called the police. She was doing everything she could. And now she has to live with this loss while preparing to bring their child into the world. A child who will never meet their father. Can you imagine that? Being pregnant, losing the father of your baby, and also carrying the weight of wondering if there was anything else you could have done. According to some reports, Catalina has gone into a shell. She hasn't been contacted by certain people. She's processing this in her own way, away from the public eye. Second, his father Sean and his 3 siblings. His family, the people who grew up with him, who knew him before the football, before the fame. They're grieving their son, their brother, but the person I keep thinking about is his sister. Think about what she's been through. February 2024, she loses her mother. November 2025, she loses her brother in less than 2 years. This young woman has lost the 2 people who were likely the foundation of her family. Her mother is gone, her brother is gone, and while the world is mourning an NFL player, she's mourning her family. Her whole life has been shattered twice in 20 months. When people talk about the ripple effects of tragedy, this is what they mean. It's not just the person who passes away. It's everyone left behind. Everyone who has to figure out how to keep living when their world has been torn apart. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about Marshawn Kneeland's story, I need you to also think about his sister. Think about Catalina. Think about his father. Think about his teammates, who are going to have to walk into that locker room and see his empty stall, number 94, and know he's never coming back. The question everyone keeps asking, how did nobody see this coming? How did a young man who seemed so full of life, who was succeeding in his career, who had people around him all the time, end up in such a dark place? And to help us understand that, I want you to hear from someone who knew Marshawn personally. Someone who coached him during his rookie season. Someone who loved him like a son. Greg Ellis, former Dallas Cowboys defensive end, Cowboys legend. He was on the coaching staff in 2024 when Marshawn was drafted. And he was actually the coach who fought the hardest to get Marshawn to Dallas in the first place. After Marshawn passed, Greg Ellis did an interview. And I need you to listen to this whole conversation because it's going to help us understand not just who Marshawn was, but what people around him were seeing, what they were thinking, and what they wish they had done differently.
Greg Ellis, nice enough to join us. Greg, obviously a Cowboys legend, but also coached Marshawn Kneeland specifically last year, his rookie season. Greg, what was the last contact you had with Marshawn?
It was actually September the 3rd, to kick off the season, man. I texted him and told him that, he's ready for this year. Told him to keep his hands up because I'm a big hands guy, and told him to, make sure he wrap up the ball carrier. And he responded back with a like and a yes, sir, and with some prayer hands. And so that was my last communications with him, personally.
When you heard the news today,
that's fucked up.
How shocked were you?
I was shocked, and to be honest with you, I'm still shocked. I've had people close to me, die, and you have that feeling like, could somebody please tell me that this is a big hoax, that this is a nightmare, that a joke or something. But obviously, that conversation, that word doesn't come. And so just extremely, extremely shocked, man, and just felt like, it was something else I could have done. I reached out to him and talked to him by text, like I said, September the 3rd. I try to make sure that the barriers are respected because I'm not coaching there anymore. But I certainly wish, I had followed my hunch and, continue to text him. As you know, he just, recovered a fumble for a touchdown. I intended to text him after that, and not to say that would have made a difference. Yeah. But, I certainly wasn't going to do it. And, I certainly wish I had done it. And really just staying in communication with him and helping him to go through, that transition from college to the pros, because it takes more than just your rookie season for that to happen. I just wish I would have did more.
And Greg, I think that's such a difficult part for, whether it's in sports or just in general, when there's a situation like this, for people to grapple with is, how could we not know, right? I mean, you've got this football team, you've got, hundreds of people in that building around this guy. He's in the spotlight. How could we not know?
It's easy, man, because you never know what these people are really going through. When they cut them cameras off,
tough for a lot of people.
When they behind them closed doors, you never know what
these people over there this entire season.
That's a fact.
Matt, to see how I feel. So imagine for the people who are over there every day. And, you feel like, what could I have done different to help Marshawn? Because you're talking about a split-second decision. And, for me, I feel like that split-second decision can be postponed, if you would, until that person is in a better mental space. And so if somebody, including myself, if we could have did something, a telephone call from me, and not to say that, hey, that's going to would have solved the problem, but, I guess it's just human nature. We all look back at ourselves and say, what could I have done to help prevent this? And I know
nothing you can
everybody
do.
in that building, from the top to the bottom. So we picking more?
Obviously, when you're on a football team as you and he were last year, you spend so much time together, you get to know each other really on a deep level, right, Greg? Because it's like you're living together during the season. How well did you get to know Marshawn Kneeland and also the people closest to him that he's leaving behind?
He has an adorable girlfriend. I don't know if they officially got engaged, but I know they were on the path to getting married, and we used to have conversations about him and her. And so that was the person that I got to know more about, because we used to have team functions where they could bring their families over, and he would bring her over. But knowing him was a once in a lifetime opportunity for me. He brightened every room that he walked in. And that's why, you say, man, when this kind of stuff happens, you feel like, how could this happen? It's just because he was a sunshine to a lot of people over there. And I know he was last year. Like I said, I hadn't had the opportunity to go over there this year. But last year, Marshawn was a bright light in a lot of situations. He was a real upbeat guy. But I did see some
Man, this
some
shit getting
withdrawal stuff
wild
from
these
him,
days, man.
that kind of isolated. He would isolate himself sometimes. But just a little concerned about it, but definitely nothing major that would have me to think that something like this would ever happen.
That's one of the things I've been talking about all day with Marshawn, is just being close to him as I've been, which is not nearly as much time as you got to spend with him, but the smile and the laugh, resonate and they stick in my mind. And I was fortunate enough during his first training camp to sit down with him out in Oxnard, and we talked about Wendy, his mother, passing away, and how he had the strength and perseverance to that same month continue on with the combine. How much did you get an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the backstory with Wendy and what she meant to him, and if there was,
sounds like secret organization
I'm
shit,
sure,
to
an
be honest.
ongoing grief and struggle
Y'all better wake up.
to cope with that loss.
This shit don't be happening for no reason.
When you go, for me, I take the approach, I try not to, and pry is too strong of a word, but I try to just be there to be able to listen if a guy want to talk to me about something like that. And, I certainly was there for him. But when I was over there, he never brought that up to me. And so I didn't bring it up to him. But, you can see that obviously that was forever to be a part of his life, if you would. And so I, did my best to be there for him if he ever wanted to bring that up. And he didn't. My dad has passed, and it's been when I was probably 18, 19 years old, and still to this day, it still hurts me to think about him in some ways, and I have to be careful even now because I can break out and start crying. So I understand that can be tough, and so I certainly never bring that up with anybody, but just make sure I'm there if they ever want to talk about it.
Just going off of that, we see so much today, Greg, about, in response to a story like this, people urging others to ask for help. How would you echo or amplify that message?
Man, I'm going to, I fall in line with everybody else. It's just, let's help each other out. The world is a tough place. And I don't care how little money you have. I don't care if you're on TV every day, if you're never on TV, or whatever it is. We all have our struggles.
We all go through something, bro.
So we got to do a better job of, helping each other out and not to be at each other's throat a lot. You know what I mean? Me, myself, man, I have taken on a role of a mental wellness activist, man. And we do a lot, go around the country talking about mental health. And I learned a lot about it, and so that's why I encourage people. Everybody's not an expert. I'm not an expert. I've learned a lot of stuff here of lately, but I'm a long way from being an expert. And I think even the experts are a long way from knowing it all. But I think just being able to check and knock on people's doors, people that and it don't have to be a long conversation, but just, check, hey, how you doing, man? I'm just, everything good? And, just something to do a better job of communicating and let people know that I know you may be dealing with something, but, I may not have the answer for you. But if you ever need to vent, we can vent together, because I'm sure that I have something to vent to you about as well. And so I think the communities at large, we need to take that approach to this thing a lot more.
Amen to that. I could not agree more. I do want to ask you about the football player, Marshawn, and Coach Zimmer, Mike Zimmer, was nice enough to spend some time on a call with us earlier today, and he singled you out as being really the guy on the Cowboys staff last year that was sort of like beating on the table that you wanted Marshawn Kneeland to be coming to Dallas. What do you remember about that and just loving this kid's game?
You know, it was the process of evaluating talent for the NFL. It's an ongoing process, as you know. And so when the scouts give us the information as a coach, they give us our position groups. And, of course, Marshawn was in there as a defensive end. And he caught my eye. And I would show the other coaches, hey, this kid, he has it, man. He's going to be something special. And they didn't understand why I was so high on him. And that's part of why Zim said what he said. But from the first day I saw him on film, I was like, dude, if we can get him, he's going to help us. And that led, and I fought for him all the way through. And everybody's like, man, I don't know. And I'm like, no, trust me. This guy, he can do it, man. And so right down to the bitter end, and we're in the draft room, and Jerry, I'm somewhere sitting in the complex, not in the war room with Jerry and Zim and all them, and I get a call, like everybody's calling me. Greg, come to the draft room. And I'm thinking, okay, what you need before the draft room? I go in, and Jerry's right there. Jerry says, Greg, is this our guy? Does this guy remind you of yourself when you were a football player as a young Greg Ellis? And I said, yes, sir, Mr. Jones, he does. He will be able to come in here and help us. And from there, they drafted him. And I get on the phone with him, congratulate him. And so that's probably what Zim was talking about. But yeah, he was my guy from day one. And I hate that coaching-wise it didn't work out for me to spend more time with him and help him to develop. And not any smash against the current coaches. That they're pretty sure they're doing a good job. But I wanted to spend time with Marshawn, man, and he was my project guy. And some of the other coaches would say, well, that's your son. I got one son, his name is Jeremiah, but Marshawn is certainly a close second. And I just wish, I had at least another year with him, working with him, and not just as a football player, but just to help coach him through that transition of what it's like being an NFL football player, especially in this big market as the Dallas Cowboys.
The grieving process will never end.
All right, gang.
For many
Be careful,
people
man.
who love Marshawn, and yet here's this football team.
Stay safe, man.
Play the game in Vegas.
Yeah.
I imagine a week from Monday, and they have to find some way to strap it up and keep playing, right? What do you imagine? It's harder, I think, even with this story that it happens on this bye week. The team cannot literally come together and grieve together in this moment today. What do you imagine the conversations are like right now amongst these players?
Oh, the vacation rental.
Well, I think you hit it on the head. Some people might say, well, it's good they're not there. They got a bye week. And I understand why a person would say that, because they do have more time to let it digest. But the tough thing about it is, people don't know when you have a bye week, you have to get some debriefing time. And so guys tend to separate and go home and go to different places. And so the team is not together right now. I think this is a time that they definitely need to be together, proximity-wise, physically together, not just phone calls, Zooms, and all that stuff. They need to be proximity close together in the same meeting room, talking about this. But that's not going to happen right now because, they're on a bye week. And so I do think it's going to spill over more into next week, the following week when they all come back and get around each other. And because here's the thing, it's going to be a serious shock. That's a shock now, but it becomes a whole new thing, if you would. And even for myself, if I go to that locker room and I know where Marshawn's locker is at, and you're going to see that 94 over there, and that's when it becomes, he ain't here no more. He ain't going to walk through that door. And that's pretty hard to deal with. I mean, that's everything. The person that sit with him share seats with him on the plane on the same row, the person that he rode with or took to the airport. All of that kind of stuff, man, has been, subtracted from that organization. And obviously he's going to be missed. And I've just, if any Dallas Cowboy staff, coaches hear this, my message, Marshawn definitely want you guys to continue to win as many games as you can win and be competitive and do your best out there. I know Marshawn wants that to happen. And I freaking hate it, man, that, things happen this way for Marshawn. And just wish it was more that I personally, could have done to reach out to him. And that's it. Again, my prayers to his girlfriend and all his family members, and to the Dallas Cowboys organization as well, and especially to those players and coaches, and just keep playing for Marshawn.
Oh, boy, yeah, it's an empty feeling, Greg, and what I can say is you're doing his memory honor by sharing as you have here, and really appreciate the time, and most of all, so sorry for your loss.
Yes, thank you, Jeff.
On Monday, I watched Marshawn Kneeland score a touchdown on Monday Night Football. And today, we are mourning his death as an NFL family. To his family and loved ones and girlfriend, his teammates, to his coaches, my condolences, my prayers to you as you grieve and you mourn his loss. This is another reminder about the mental health struggles that so many people deal with. And mental health issues don't stop at the doors of the stadium, because you can complete these amazing athletic feats.
He did it on purpose,
that doesn't fend off these struggles. The fastest player, Lamar Jackson, to Tyreek Hills, aren't fast enough to outrun these struggles. The best of quarterbacks, the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allen, can't throw these troubles far enough away. The most aggressive defenders, the Myles Garretts, the TJ Watts, the Micah Parsons, can't sack these things. These are issues that all people deal with, especially in this day and age. Black men. The suicide rates of black men over the last 5 years have risen at an alarming rate. Among the suicides of African Americans, black men account for 80% of those. And now Marshawn Kneeland is a part of it. And it's not an age thing. I know so many times we point to the Dave Durisons, the Junior Seaus, and the Rudy Johnsons for players who post-career deal with these issues and eventually take
I always have faith in God, Yahweh,
man. What about Javon Belcher in Kansas City years ago? And then now Marshawn Kneeland, to add to something like we dealt with Kyron Lacy. These are sad and tragic situations that tell you to check on your people, that tell you even though we're smiling, even though we're working, even though we seem to have it all, there could be an internal fight. There could be demons that linger that eventually rear their heads in tragic and devastating ways. Marshawn Kneeland, you will be missed. To all the people who will continue to mourn and continue to grieve, we send our prayers, we send our blessings, and we send our condolences.
Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland tragically died this morning. We don't know the cause of death, but I'm reminded that these NFL players, these athletes, these celebrities are humans.
Human.
Just like you and I.
Shit happens.
Tell someone you love them today. Stop. Send that text. When you think of that person and you're like, do I need to send them that text? Yeah, send it. Let them know you appreciate them. Let them know you're proud of them. Let them know you can't imagine life without them. Let them know you love them. Tell that person just how valuable they are to you, because you don't know how many more opportunities you'll have to say those words. This life isn't promised. Show up for people. Show out for people. Celebrate people. Celebrate people. Rest in peace. Rest in paradise. Marshawn Kneeland.
Marshawn Kneeland was 24 years old. He was somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's boyfriend, somebody's teammate, somebody's friend. He was loved, he was talented. He was kind, he was the sunshine in every room, and he's gone. But maybe if we learn from this, if we do better, if we change how we show up for each other, maybe the next person who's struggling won't feel so alone. Maybe the next person who's carrying unbearable grief will reach out for help. Maybe the next person who's in that dark place will choose to stay. Rest in peace, Marshawn Kneeland, and rest in peace, Wendy Kneeland. May you both be together now, free from pain, finally at peace. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis.
I do that. So, bruh, like I said, man, rest in power, Marshawn Kneeland, man. It's sad, his story, man, because he lost his mom. You know what I'm saying? He was going through it. You know, he got a sister, he got a girlfriend, and she pregnant now. So it's like the sister done lost both of her people now, and the baby ain't got no father or grandmother. Boy, that shit getting crazy, man. You know, it's sad because the nigga was doing good in the NFL. You know, he got his chance to do his TE, but you never know what these niggas are going behind closed doors, to be honest, man. And you know, these people, man, you know, you want to help these people out, man, but you just never know. And you could be next to these people, you could talk to them, they look like everything going good, but behind closed doors, these niggas are going buck wild crazy. So, you know, prayers out to people going through mental health issues, man. But sometimes you never know what these people are really, what they doing, man. It's like you want to see people win and succeed and live a life, but you never know like what's the reason for this shit. And you could say it's because of people lost, people dead, but you never know, man. R.I.P. man to his mom and him, and prayers out to their family. And we out to be hood outside, big crip in the game. That's our shit.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.